Taking effective notes can be a game changer during your A-level studies. Whether you're in class, revising at home, or reviewing past papers, the way you organize and capture information will make all the difference. In this video, we'll explore strategies to help you create notes that are clear, concise, and easy to review. We'll cover 3 note-taking methods: the Cornell system, mind mapping, and the outline method. There are many others, and you may find an alternative that works for you. These are just some ideas to get you started. But we will start by looking at some general hints and tips to make your note-taking as effective as possible. Taking effective notes is more than just writing things down. There are key principles that will help you get the most out of your study sessions. First, don't try to write everything down. It's easy to fall into the trap of copying entire lectures or passages, but the real value comes from distilling the information. Focus on the key points and terms that will be essential for understanding the topic. These are often repeated by the teacher or emphasized in your textbooks. Make a habit of identifying them. Secondly, a crucial part of note-taking is to use your own words. Copying notes word for word may seem efficient, but it's passive. Instead, summarizing the content in your own language forces you to actively process the information, making it much easier to remember. You're engaging your brain, making connections, and reinforcing your understanding. Third, your notes don't have to be perfect on the first pass. While in class or during independent study, focus on capturing information quickly, even if it's a bit rough. The idea is to record the important details as they come, without worrying too much about structure or neatness. Later, when you review your notes, you can tidy them up, add extra details, fill in gaps, or just make them look pretty. Frequent reviewing is key to solidifying the material in your memory and identifying areas that need further study. If you're someone who likes to highlight, be mindful of why you're doing it. Don't just color code everything. If you highlight something, annotate next to it explaining why it's important. Did you highlight it because it's a core concept, a key term, or something you don't fully understand yet? This adds context to your highlights and makes your notes more meaningful when you come back to them. Lastly, when using color, try to develop a consistent color code for your notes. This might involve using one color for definitions, another for examples, and a third for questions you need to look into later. Using colors strategically helps categorize your notes visually and makes it easier to navigate when reviewing. Just remember, highlighting is most effective when paired with annotations explaining the significance. Your notes are a resource that you will need to revisit time and again throughout your studies. They are not written once and then ignored until revision or exams happen. By following these principles and making regular review part of your routine, your notes will become powerful study tools, helping you stay organized and fully prepared for lessons and exams. Now let's look at some different note-taking systems. As I mentioned before, there are lots more systems out there. This is just a selection. It is important that you try different ways of taking notes so that you find the one that works best for you and your subjects. The first one we are going to look at is the Cornell method. For this method, you can create your own templates, or you can buy notebooks and pads with a template already printed. The Cornell note-taking method breaks down your notes into 3 main sections: the note-taking area, the cue column, and the summary. Let's take a closer look at how each part works. First, there's the note-taking area, which takes up most of the right-hand side of the page. During class, this is where you write down key points, facts, and ideas. For example, if you're in a biology lesson about photosynthesis, you might jot down the stages, key terms like chloroplasts, and diagrams that help illustrate the process. Don't try to capture everything, just the most important concepts and ideas. Next, we have the cue column on the left-hand side. After class, this is where you write down questions or keywords that relate to the notes you took. For example, next to your photosynthesis notes, you might write, "What is the role of chlorophyll?" or just the keyword light reaction. These cues help you quickly review and quiz yourself on the material, which is great for exam preparation. At the bottom of the page is the summary section. This is where you summarize the main points in just a few sentences, like explaining photosynthesis as the process plants use to convert sunlight into energy. The summary forces you to condense the material, helping reinforce your understanding. Next, we will look at mind mapping. Mind mapping is a creative and visual way to take notes, perfect when studying topics with lots of interrelated ideas. It starts with a central topic in the middle of the page. For example, if you're studying the French Revolution, you'd write that in the center. From there, you create branches for key subtopics like causes, key events, and outcomes. Each subtopic gets its own branch, and from those, you can add smaller branches with specific details. For causes, you might branch out to economic struggles or political unrest, then further details under each one. Using colors, symbols, and images helps make the connections clearer and more memorable. For example, you might use green for social causes and blue for political ones. By the end, you've got a clear visual map of the topic, showing how everything links together. The final note-taking method we're going to look at is outline notes. The outline method is a simple yet effective way to organize your notes, especially in subjects with a lot of detailed information, like the humanities or social sciences. It works by arranging information in a clear, hierarchical structure. Start by writing your main topic at the top of the page. Let's say you're studying John Stuart Mill's theory of economics. That's your heading. Beneath that, you'll create subheadings that represent the key themes or categories, like liberal classical economics, opinion on government, and major works. Each subheading is indented to show that it's a subtopic of the main idea. Under each subheading, you'll list specific points and details. For example, under major works, you might include points like utilitarianism and principles of political economy. Each level of detail is further indented to create a clear hierarchy. This structure helps break down complex information into manageable chunks and shows the relationships between ideas. The indented format makes it easy to identify the main topics and supporting details, which is incredibly helpful during revision. The outline format keeps your notes structured and easy to follow. It's perfect for reviewing later, as the information is broken down logically, making it easier to find key points when revising. As you've seen, effective note-taking isn't just about writing things down. It's about understanding and organizing information in a way that works for you. Whether you choose the structured approach of the Cornell method, the creativity of mind mapping, or the simplicity of outlining, the key is to stay engaged and active in your learning. Remember, find the method that fits your style, review your notes regularly, and don't be afraid to experiment with colors, highlighting, and annotations to make them more effective. With the right techniques, your notes will become powerful tools, helping you study smarter and more efficiently.